Hi, fragrance friends. Welcome to the Nose Nose. It's Daniel. I am so excited for today because we have a scent from the less exclusive line, and it is an eau de toilette, which are now discontinued and pretty much impossible to find. There's a few stragglers in certain stores, but they're gone from the boutique, so it would all be third-party retailers at this point. Today we're going to review Misia. This is an awesome scent. It came out in, I believe, 2015. It was the first less exclusive scent that the new perfumer from Chanel, Olivier Poge, created, and it is now reformulated as an eau de parfum, which I have smelled. I haven't really worn it much on the skin, but I've gotten a feel for it and the general transition over to the new eau de parfums. But we're going to talk about the eau de toilette, and I'm just going to go ahead and spray some on and give some impressions as it sprays. There is a really, oh my gosh, violet. It is like this amazing, amazing violet scent, but it's also kind of sweet. There's two types of rose in it. There's benzoin from Laos. Let's see what else. I gotta pull up my notes because I can't remember all of them. There's iris. There's tonka bean. It said that there's aldehydes in it. And my favorite note in it is like a cake makeup note. It's based on cake makeup in the 1930s because Misia was a friend of Gabrielle Chanel, and she actually hooked Chanel up with a lot of artists. Misia was the muse for a lot of artists, and with Chanel creating first hats and then fashions, she kind of got them all in touch. And it was this community. And Misia, I believe, was a pianist or did something in the theater. So they made the scent sort of evocative of backstage. So you have fresh florals, and you also have a powdery note of cake makeup. The scent kind of reminds me a little bit of Lipstick Rose from Frederic Malle. But I feel like this one is brighter, and the floral accord is more interesting. And just, there's more going on with the iris and the violet and the rose. I mostly get violet from this scent. It's just like really fresh. Dan's over in the hotel and he's like, "Do you smell it?" I did 3 sprays of the eau de toilette. It's, as most Chanel perfumes are at first, they're like, bam, they're really, really intense. The eau de toilette is super velvety. I find as it dries down, the violet mellows out. The tonka bean becomes a little bit more prominent. And it's really powdery with that makeup note. It's really interesting. It just smells like a cakey type of expensive makeup. It was based on theater makeup, they said, from the 30s, which was really, really thick and not thin like the makeup we have, but it was a very thick, cakey type of makeup. Oh, it smells amazing. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the changeover to eau de parfums with the less exclusives line, and this one in particular. Like I said, I haven't really worn the new one on my skin. I have a tester of it at Neiman Marcus where I work, but this seems pretty accurate for most of the scents in the less exclusive line, where the original versions of eau de toilettes were very kind of deep. They were velvety. It was like, I'm going to give like a metaphor for how I view the difference. So the eau de toilettes were like jumping into a pool and being underwater, and you're in this whole different world. Whatever world the scent was taking you in, it was like you were submerged in it. You were deep in it. It was totally all around you, circumferencing you, and it was like you were transported into this other world. Very deep, very velvety. This particular scent, many of them. And I find that most of Jacques Poge's interpretations of the Chanel scents tend to be very enveloping. Like the number 5 eau de parfum is super, there's bourbon vanilla, and it's very large, very, it's a very big, sometimes overwhelming fragrance. So the eau de parfums, I find, are like, they're less enveloping than the eau de toilettes. Even though their eau de parfums, there's higher concentration of oil, and I find they do last longer, most of them. It's like almost like there's 2 pieces to most of these eau de parfums, and I find this is true with Misia, where the first piece is the top notes tend to be brighter and more forward and a little more pronounced, and the best word I know is brighter. They sort of resonate more. They just seem to be more pronounced and hit the nose with a little bit more of force and brightness. It's not like a deep smooth. And that's the first component. Then the second component of a lot of the eau de parfum concentrations by Olivier is this deeper yet soft powdery kind of happening. I noticed this with Misia. The cake note is less enveloping, less surrounding, and more like you can almost see through the fragrance. And I think of this, if the eau de toilettes were like jumping in the water, the eau de parfums are like looking at a pond, being able to see a very clean reflection of yourself. That's like the top bright notes, and yet being able to see through the water to the bottom, and that's like the powdery notes. It's not as deep or as velvety as being in the water, but you still are able to appreciate it. And it's almost like they're both there, but the top is here and the base is here, and they're almost two distinct parts of one fragrance. And that to me is the best way to explain the difference. Like I said, the new Misia I have not worn on my skin a whole lot. I like it. I think it just has that different construction. It's amazing though. The eau de toilette is so beautiful. This is one of my mom's fragrances. She likes floral scents a lot. She really wears Coco from Chanel, but she likes sometimes number 5 or scents like this. So this one is really, really lovely. I do recommend the eau de parfum as well. It's definitely more of a feminine scent. I actually don't. I wear number 5 sometimes. I'll even put on beige, which I did a review about, which is more of a floral scent. But this one, I don't know. To me, it's pretty. If we're talking traditional terms, it's pretty feminine. But hey, I mean, I could see a guy rock this with the right attitude and the right personality. But it's definitely a very floral scent. It reminds me like being backstage at a theater, which I think is so cool. The concept behind this, and I really, really like it. And the color is beautiful too. This kind of amber yellow color is just gorgeous. So that's Misia, one of the less exclusives, and that's an eau de toilette. We are going to be doing Coromandel next, which I have the new eau de parfum version. And I have to say, I actually like the eau de parfum of Coromandel more than the eau de toilette, which I smelled. We had a tester at work, which is now gone, totally used up, the eau de toilette. But I actually like the eau de parfum of Coromandel. That's one that, to me, is like a definite improvement. And I feel like they play with the notes. But that's the next video. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Oh, and if you want, you can subscribe right here. Or if you want, you can watch another video right here.